Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Talk Time with Pastor Krista. So today we're continuing our 3-day discussion on the Last Supper, which was the meal that Jesus had with his 12 best friends, with his disciples, the night before he died. Now, we talked during Lent about the actual bread and the wine, so that's not what we're going to be talking about today. That certainly was the most important part of the Last Supper, of that table, but that's not for our discussion today. Thursday, we used this beautiful earthenware basin and I filled it with water and I talked about how Jesus washed the feet of his disciples to make sure that they would be clean physically, but spiritually also as they went out after Jesus died to continue to talk about Jesus and do his good work and share his good words. But today we're going to talk about the disciples. Now, do you remember last Tuesday when I talked about the cups on the table? This is a pretty big table. When I have a family party, we probably fit 14 or 15 people around this table. We squeeze in extra chairs. But do you know what? It's still not enough for everybody who comes to my parties, for everybody I love. So I set up separate tables everywhere. But Jesus' table, even though this is a big table, Jesus has a table that is so big that it fits each and every one of us. But that first night of the Last Supper, it only fit Jesus and his 12 friends. So let's talk about each of the disciples, and I have a fun fact for each of them for you. So one of his disciples was named James. Now, James is the brother of John, who was another disciple of Jesus. And Jesus had a nickname for James and his brother. He called them the Sons of Thunder because they had kind of stormy personalities. They weren't always real chill and didn't always go on an even keel. They were a little edgy. So one of Jesus' disciples was a little edgy. The next one we have is Matthew. Now, Matthew's interesting because Matthew was a tax collector, and tax collectors were despised people at the time Jesus was alive. But Jesus befriended one of these despised people. He befriended one of the tax collectors. And when Jesus sat and talked to him about who he was, all of a sudden, this disciple Matthew became a friend, one of Jesus' favorite disciples. Next, we have the disciple Thomas. A fun fact about Thomas is that Thomas was a doubter. He didn't always believe everything until he saw it. He didn't follow Jesus blindly. He needed to have proof before he believed who Jesus was and what Jesus said. Then we have Bartholomew. Now, Bartholomew, he knew Jesus right away. I'm going to spread these out so I can refer back to them. He knew Jesus right away. Without a doubt, he said, "This is Jesus and I'm following him." Next, we have Philip. Philip didn't recognize Jesus right away. He saw Jesus, but he didn't recognize the holiness and how amazing Jesus was until he spent some time with him. Then there's Thaddeus. Thaddeus was a follower. He wasn't a leader. You would think every one of Jesus' friends would be a leader, but Thaddeus was more comfortable following than he was leading. And then we have John. Now, John was exiled. He was kicked right out after Jesus died, after years of preaching Jesus' word. They kicked him out to a place called Patmos. And at Patmos, he lived until he died there, but he was booted right out. They didn't even let him stay. We have another James, two different, same name. You might have two children in your classroom who have the same name, but they are very different people. This James, there's very little known about him. He's not very popular. We don't know a lot about that James, other than the fact that he loved Jesus. And then there's Andrew. Andrew was the very first disciple that Jesus chose. And then there is Simon. Simon, guess what? Unless there is a list of all the disciples in the Bible, Simon is never even mentioned one time. How do you like that? And then we get to the last two disciples. We have Peter. Peter was the disciple who Jesus said at the Last Supper, looked right at him and said, "You will deny me 3 times. 3 times somebody will come up to you and you will say, 'I don't know Jesus.' And they'll ask you again, 'Do you know this guy named Jesus?' And you'll say, 'I don't know Jesus.' We really should not deny a friend, correct?" So Peter made kind of a bad choice that night. Peter was very, very impulsive. Kind of a cool fact about Peter, he loved Jesus so much that when he died, they wanted to hang Peter on a cross the same way they did Jesus, and Peter said, I want you to turn the cross upside down, and I want you to hang me upside down because I'm not worthy to die the same way Jesus did. Peter had a very deep love for our Messiah. And then we have Judas. And Judas was the disciple who sold Jesus out to the Roman soldiers. He took money in place for information about where Jesus would be the night of the Last Supper. So two things that I want you to realize. The first is that these men were not perfect men. They were not all leaders. Some of them had parts of their personality that weren't the best parts, but we all have parts of our personality that are not the best, correct? But Jesus invited every single one of them to his table without reservation. So this is what I want you to think about when you think about taking the bread and the wine. All Jesus asks is that we come there willingly, that we take communion willingly, that nobody forces us to do that. But Jesus also asks this, that we realize that at Jesus' table that stretches out across the world and around the world, there is a place for every single person. And it isn't up to us to judge who gets a chair pulled out for them and who doesn't. Because for Jesus, everyone can sit at that table if that table is where they want to be. And it does not matter how tall or short they are, how big or thin they are. It doesn't matter the color of their skin, what language they speak, or who they love. Everyone has a place at Jesus' table. And that's our message for today, boys and girls. And Kathleen, go get my Bible fast. We are going to read a very short scripture from our Bible, but I think first we're going to sing our song because I forgot my Bible and Kathleen ran to grab it. So let's sing our song first, and then I'll share scripture with you. So the song goes like this, and we know this. We're going to talk about being a Christian. I am a C, I am a CH, I am a CHRISTIAN. Yay, God, and I have CHRIST in my HEART, and I will LIVEETERNALLY. I am a Christian. I have CHRIST. I have Christ in my heart, and I will live eternally. Good song. So let's share our very short scripture today, and then we'll do our benediction. So today, with my nifty new Bible marker, this scripture is taken from Matthew 4, and it's verse 19. And this is what Jesus said to his friends. Come follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. Jesus didn't mean that he was going to throw a line in the water and yank up a person. Jesus said to his disciples, when I'm gone, I want you to go out and I want you to act in ways that will honor me. And I want you, because of your actions, not necessarily your words, but because of your actions, to bring people to me, be fishers of men. So until we meet again on Thursday, I want you all to be fishers of men. So let's do our benediction together. Are you ready? My heart loves your heart because Jesus first loved us. God bless you, everybody, and we will see you on Thursday.